Hey, what's going on, you broke motherfuckers?
Let's get fucking big!
Hey, what's going on, you broke motherfucker? We're back. Me and Jason are actually back. We took a hiatus because we had a lot of shit to do, and we just put the podcast on ice for a little bit and did some under construction work on the channel. So we're back. Um, let's go. Getting fit and talking shite. Um, so this whole thing going on since the beginning of this year, right? It's like a whole bunch of racism things and comedy, stand-up comedians like, for instance, the Kevin Hart roast. I don't know. Did you see it or did you hear about it?
I definitely saw Cat Williams' part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I wanted to see what he was going to say too, based off of everything he said on Club Shay Shay. But it was pretty interesting. He definitely stuck to his word. But I know it was all for a roast. But I could tell that he meant that shit. Like, you know what I mean? And it was like, yeah, they're cool now. By the way, Kevin Hart just went on the Breakfast Club and explained, hey, listen, we're cool now. We've been cool for 8 months now, whatever. But it was what it was. But people, they like to drag it out. And that's what I'm talking about. People getting on social media and making things to what it's not. And then, like, for instance, Tony Hinchcliffe, right? You know who he is, comedian. Kill
I've
Tony.
I've heard the name, I've heard the title. I couldn't tell you that I'm familiar with any of the work.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the most devastating roasters, like, and I mean, he'll dig in, but he made a comment about George Floyd, a joke about
Oh
George
yeah,
Floyd.
I heard about it. I don't know what was said.
Yeah. Just basically that George Floyd is looking up at us, and he's laughing so hard at these jokes that he can't breathe. Yeah, it was funny, but see, for me, being half black, I don't take offense to shit like that because I knew it was a roast and I knew why he was saying it. He didn't just get on, TikTok and start saying some shit like that. You know what I mean? He was doing a roast. He said, now was it tasteful? Probably not. Now, did he know he was going to offend people? Probably, but that's who he is what I'm saying. But he's not racist. He's just a comedian doing his thing. That's his material. And I wanted to get your opinion on something like that because this shit is going way out of control. And now they're trying to get Kevin Hart to apologize about some shit he didn't even say. He didn't say it was his roast. He produced it. But that's where the line draws. He can't control what everybody else on the platform does, their material. He doesn't have any control over that. But he also respects and knows what they're doing. But it's not his problem if somebody else gets offended. Now they're attacking Kevin Hart. What's your take?
So it's funny because, like I said, I haven't watched the whole thing. I watched the whole Cat Williams part, but I also heard that like there was some beef going on with Chelsea Handler or whatever her name is,
Mhm.
with whatever comedian that was, the big heavy white guy, to where he got up and he said a bunch of stuff about her,
Mhm.
and she came out
Shane
saying,
Gillis. Yeah.
Jane Gillis, yeah. And then she kind of got up and started making jokes about how racist he is and things like that. And I don't know, man.
Um, at the end of the day, we had some Twilight action because Jason wanted to do this shit at 6 o'clock. So yeah, go ahead. But now I'm feeling good. The Tampa breeze is coming through. Your thoughts on Kevin Hart too, taking the blunt end of this shit and having to get on Breakfast Club to explain himself. But go ahead.
Look, I think Kevin Hart knew exactly what he was getting himself into. I mean, here's the thing is we haven't done this in so long, and there's been so much stuff that has happened since then. You got Epstein files, you got Diddy files, you got all sorts of things going on. And be honest, the only news I've really gotten on that stuff is what other people get on to say that I see pop up in my reels or something like that. So I haven't done a deep dive myself because
Mhm.
there's crazy stuff going out there. I don't need to get all that evil inside of my own brain and things like that.
Right.
But yeah, Kevin Hart knew knew exactly what kind of ammunition was going to be used against him having a roast of himself. Just like whenever Charlie Sheen did his, he knew exactly what was coming. And And that's probably the last roast I've actually watched was the Charlie Sheen roast. But
Oh, you didn't see the Tom Brady one?
I saw bits and pieces of it.
Oh, okay.
You got to remember, I'm a Falcons fan, and I already didn't like Tom Brady. And
Well, hell, he was getting roasted. That should have been the number one thing you wanted to watch.
you think, but he might find a way to come back and
yeah,
flip it on everybody else.
Oh shit. No, but what about you though?
28.
What about damn? What about you though? What if you, because you guys are the same height anyway, what if you were getting roasted and like someone said something at your roast, would you feel responsible? Like, and people were like, "Oh, Jason, I can't believe you." Like you said the shit. How would you react in your own? Would you just be like, "Well, talk to him," or or would you apologize for them?
No, I wouldn't apologize. But I mean, just like what kind of ammunition is going to be brought against you, if you're in control of which comedians are going to be there, you know exactly the type of things that are going to be said. Like bringing Cat Williams on there, whoever booked him, they knew what was going to be said.
Yeah.
But okay, you brought on who you brought on, but like let's say the guy who I've seen about recently, never heard of him before. Something the builder, the guy who basically would go out and
Chud
go into
or whatever. Yeah.
Chud the builder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you brought him on, you might need to apologize, especially knowing what demographic is probably going to watch this and who's going to be in the crowd and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, somebody killed him backstage. Well, you probably shouldn't have brought that guy on. Like, you wouldn't bring Hitler to Jubilee or something like that. To come give a speech or something like that. So comedy's comedy, though. I mean, the person who always says it the best, being a comedian, is Dave Chappelle. Like he goes out there and he makes fun of everybody. He makes fun of every race, every sexuality, all of it. Because sometimes what I think it is people just can't handle having the mirror flip back on them. And that's what comedy is. It's making fun of people by flipping the script and turning everything back on them. And sometimes things get too real. Sometimes things just hit home too much. And that's where you see people come out and they don't know how to handle it. So all they can do is try to attack character and try to attack this type of stuff. That's why Dave Chappelle is always out there saying, I don't care. Like, if you don't want to hear it, don't come to my show. Don't watch my special, because you know who you're turning into, or who you're tuning into. But people do it because they know that they're going to get agitated, and it's that rage bait and all that different type of stuff. And they want to see exactly how they can try to make a name for themselves off of somebody who already has a name. Like you see people who do podcasts or, get on there and have all this stuff to say, and they're nobody themselves, but they bring up a name because they know that somehow it's going to end up in the algorithm because you brought up somebody's name that's famous, Dave Chappelle, Dave Chappelle, Dave Chappelle, Dave Chappelle. Hopefully that did something for us. But you get what I'm saying? Like, you're a nobody, and the only way to try to make a name for yourself is by showing some sort of rage to what somebody who's actually successful, somebody who's actually done something, and saying something bad about them.
Correct. Isn't that dude Chud and didn't he's in jail or something?
I mean,
I
saw it on another podcast where they were talking about him because he's in jail because he would basically go on the street and start using racial slurs and then basically try to tempt people to do something to him. What I saw was he was telling this group of guys to follow him to his truck because he was going to get his gun and shoot him. And apparently he shot and killed somebody, and now he's in jail. And especially, I mean, the type of stuff he was saying, that's the type of person who needs to be in jail for inciting that type of stuff. Like, we've got different freedoms. We've got the freedom of speech and things like that. But just because you've got the freedom of speech doesn't mean that you should go out and use it that way. Like we've got a social contract with each other to where, people aren't going to go around and just yelling fire in a freaking movie theater or something like that. Like, you've got the ability to do it, but that doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. That's why it's in fact illegal to do something like that, because of mass pandemonium and everything that you're going to cause from that. So Yeah, I did. Like I said, I saw it because of flipping through my reels
Yeah, me
and
too.
the Hodge twins talking about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too. Yeah, yeah. I didn't watch it yet. I mean, I watched some of it, but I didn't get the full. Naturally, I was going to see what was going on, but I figured you knew, so that's what it was. I got bits and pieces, but yeah,
yeah,
that.
basically he'd go out in public and use racial slurs and call people all sorts of things that he knows was going to cause them to get angry and try to create a reaction. It's just like when you watch these other people call themselves what is it, Fourth Amendment auditors who purposely go out with cameras or
Oh yeah,
whichever
yeah. I
news.
watch that all the time. I'm a fan
Yeah,
of some of them, but
where they'll go into a post office
yeah,
because they've got the right to do it, but they want to get people pissed off, and they
yeah,
want it because then it's that rage and it creates clickbait and doing all that different type of stuff.
yeah, yeah. I watch Bay Area Transparency. See, here's the thing. Some of them I don't agree with, but there's certain auditors out there that they don't push that fine line like you're saying. Now I know what Chud does, but that shit I didn't know that he got, what the circumstances were until you kind of broke it more down. But that what you said, that's over that's line stepping now.
Oh yeah,
Per-
and I only watched a little bit of it because even though it was bleeped out and stuff, like
Yeah.
it still was just more than I wanted to hear. Like I
No.
was
Yeah.
just hearing the name Chud the Builder, like that sounds stupid anyway. What could this possibly be about? And it's got to be something if it's gotten their attention that they're talking about it. But once I started to see more of it, I was like, nah, I don't want. He's in jail. That's enough I need to hear. But I don't need to hear the type of hateful stuff he's out there saying.
Yeah, I already knew that he crossed the line somehow. And when you do that, then I can't vote for you. Meaning it's like I'm one for, constitutional rights and all. And I don't, if people are racist or not, whatever, that's their business. I don't get into that. Um, because we're in America. But now when you cross that line and shit like that happens, nah, I'm gonna have to disagree because you can't abuse the First Amendment. You can't abuse the Constitution like that. Now you can say whatever the hell you want. Which leads me
But
into
you
my
also have the right to the repercussions that come with expressing that right.
correct. Absolutely. So when you go above and beyond, then I can't agree with that. Like, no, you shitted all over the Constitution. That's what you did. So yeah, but that brings me back to Tony Hinchcliffe, for instance. My whole thing is if you know we're Americans, you know you're in America, and you know that we have these constitutional rights to say whatever the hell we want. Now, there's a difference. If an officer or a law enforcement officer or someone of a higher standard, even the president, um, if they were to say a racial slur or something like that, I understand people getting on social media and having a position about it because you should be professional. You shouldn't do things like that, even though they do have the rights, but their policy says they can't say it. So yeah, let their department or whatever handle them. And yes, speak out about it, share your thoughts, whatever. But when it comes to a comedian, my thoughts on that is Tony Hinchcliffe is a comedian. That's his content. You know what he does. And even if you don't know what he does, you automatically know he's a stand-up comedian anyway. So when a comedian in that atmosphere does that, and you know that we live in America, you shouldn't get on bitch and moan about anything. Just don't watch the shit. That's my take on it. Now, you may have different thoughts, but for me, as an American, the Constitution means a lot. So when Tony Hinchcliffe says whatever he wants now, is it distasteful, some of the shit he says? Of course it is. Hell, he said some shit. I thought it was distasteful, but am I going to bitch and moan about it? No, because I know what he's doing. I'm not going to complain about it and go, oh, social media, let me Tony Hinchcliffe hang him from a tree. No, man, that's outrageous because I know him as a comedian. And even if I didn't know his material, I know he's a stand-up comedian, like I said, right? Now, if he was just like a politician or somebody else, of course, somebody, yeah, speak your mind, because this shouldn't happen. That's when people should get together and block those things and be like, no, and get as a group and get those people out of office. We don't want people like that working in those places that are going to act like that. That's the point of getting on social media and expressing yourself that way. But things like that, Kevin Hart shouldn't have to go on the Breakfast Club. Number one, he didn't apologize, which I'm glad he didn't, but he shouldn't even have to explain why people are coming after him for something he didn't even say. But go ahead. What's your take on that?
Well, there's a huge difference between a comedian and a politician. A comedian is just there. Yeah, they're trying to get a reaction out of you because that's the whole thing. Like they can cause anger. They can cause laughter, all that different type of stuff. But when you're talking about a politician, you're talking about a policymaker, and you don't need them to bring that type of stuff to the table that now could potentially work its way into policy that's going to disparage another group. And that's where I think that becomes a huge line there. But again, I don't really know. I don't know anything that Tony said. I haven't heard anything about him. But
How do you feel about stuff like that? By the way, meaning regardless of the show, we'll get past the show. But when you hear stuff on social media about somebody saying the N-word or stuff like that, or reverse racism about white people. What about you? Do you just kind of, not, I don't want to call it enjoy the content, but you're just kind of like an onlooker, like, like, that's crazy. Like, you don't take things personal, or do you? Because you have black friends. I'm half black. What I mean is, does it offend you having black friends and stuff like that when you hear things like that? Or you just like, yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, I can't say exactly what it's like because I'm not of the same melanin. But yeah, I know there's people that I know that I care about who could potentially take the different type of stuff offensively. And if it's something that I find offensive, I just move right on past it. I'm not gonna get on social media. I'm not trying to make a name for myself out of going out there and trying to cancel somebody or doing something like that. But I just don't give them the views. I don't give them the clicks. I don't give them the this or that. If I see that person pop up, like, nope, keep right on going. Yeah, so for the people that are trying to seek attention by doing that type of content, the best thing you can do is not give them the attention they're craving, because that's how they get the likes, the clicks, the monetization, all that different type of stuff. So you just stay away from it.
Right. So do you share my sentiment about that, though, about, the different, obviously you do, but the difference between a comedian and a politician, like you just kind of broke down. I mean, do you agree? Like, I mean, naturally people have the right into their opinion to get on, but you shouldn't bitch and moan and cry about it and get that upset when we have those rights, is what I'm getting at. And I'm talking about the comedic side. Just don't watch it. Do you agree with that? Like, what are you
No, I
complaining
think you take action. So if we're talking about on the political side, is they have recall elections and things like that. If you're talking about somebody who makes a living off of views or content, you don't give them the views. You don't give them the platform to have their views heard. That way, they're not being heard. I mean, you go out there and you just keep saying their name over and over again. All you're doing is bringing more people to be like, well, I need to go investigate what this person said, and now they're getting more views. And so, I mean, they don't know the difference between somebody who's looking at it because they hate what they said or somebody who likes what they said. All they know is that it's creating more views, it's putting more money in their pocket, and they're going to keep doing the exact same thing and saying the exact same things because, quite frankly, they probably don't even care. In all honesty, if it is something as bad and they know that it's evil or vile what they're saying, they're just going to keep on saying it because they know it's going to cause people to keep going to look at what it is they're saying, whether it's because they agree, disagree, love it, hate it. It's still going to put money in their pockets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Plus, the last thing I'll say is, what is basically, I see them retaliating and getting on social media talking about it because they want views. Because to be honest, what's actually going to happen? Because that you get on there bitching and moaning about something Tony Hinchcliffe did, right? Well, what's the result? Nothing. He's going to do another show. Nothing's going to happen to him. You're not going to cancel him. So I don't understand what people think is going to actually happen, because in his situation, nothing can happen. People are still going to book him because he does do that kind of shit. Whether as a politician or anybody in that world, they're going to get booted policy wise. Tony Hinchcliffe doesn't work for nobody. That's him. So what are they thinking is going to happen, and just wasting time talking about this shit? I always thought about that. That'll be what do you think of that for the last thing there?
Hard to discern who really just needs to get something off their chest
Hmm.
or who sees the opportunity to mention and to just kind of grab on to a situation and try to make a name for themselves out of something, to try to put a new spin, a new take on something. I mean, in all honesty, it's like looking at a workout video of somebody doing a bench press. It's like, what are you doing that's new? What are you doing that's different? Oh, you're just showing yourself bench pressing. Okay. And doing the same thing with creating, anti somebody content. Like all you're doing is you're trying to make a name for yourself off of that person's name. I mean, that's the way I see it. I don't know. Because again, I've not had those feelings or situations to where I've gone on and done something like that, to where I've had to get up and denounce what somebody else said. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I can think it is somebody trying to build a name off of themselves, off of something somebody else did.
Interesting. You're right. I think we're in
Well, I mean, about this, and I'm sure you've seen this a whole bunch. How often do you see now where you'll see somebody who's got like a real podcast like Joe Rogan, and somebody's reel will start out with Joe Rogan saying, have you heard this? And then it goes right into their podcast where they're talking about something or their video. And it's just real quick. Hey, I'm going to grab your attention because Joe Rogan starts out in the beginning, but then it's me, the rest of the content, like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Good example. Absolutely. All right. All right. Final thoughts, and then I'll give mine. You got anything?
Well, I guess the biggest thing is I think it's kind of crazy that even in 2026, we're having these types of conversations where we're being divisive against each other, where people are turning against each other, where racism still exists. I think it's kind of crazy. I mean, we had decades of Jerry Springer out there saying, and most of all, be kind to one another, but nobody listened. And now Jerry's gone. What are we supposed to do?
Dang.
But we got to look past our differences. We got to look past the things that divide us and let it be the things that bring us closer together. That way we can learn from each other, even if we don't agree, to be able to see what, at least where the other person comes from, to have a little bit of self-awareness, to actually get over that, get over ourselves, and try to understand somebody else's position.
All right. Well, I'll sum it up with this. Somebody asked me if I would say, and I'll bleep this out, don't worry, Jason. Somebody asked me, as a mulatto, if I would use the word nigga. And I said, yeah, no one's going to stop me because number one, my dad is black and I grew up black. So if I want to say the word nigga, I'm going to say the word nigga all nigga day. And we're out. You broke motherfucker.
Hey, what's going on, you broke motherfuckers?
Let's get fucking big.
You don't know what you're doing.